present The Strange Romance of Evelyn Winters, the story of Gary Bennett, playwright who suddenly and unexpectedly finds himself the guardian of lovely Evelyn Winters. Lady, like thousands of other homemakers, try an astonishing new way to wash stockings, blouses, underthings, brighter, fresher. Use Blue White, the remarkable blue flakes that wash and blue at the same time. This revolutionary new product, Blue White, combines a special kind of bluing with pure, mild soap flakes. The combination does what soap alone simply cannot do. The bright blue water, topped with heaps of white cleansing suds, washes and blues. There's no extra bluing rinse, yet results are amazing. Blue White is all you need to wash your dainty things sparkling bright, dazzling white. It never overblues, never streaks. Today, get Blue White. Only 10 cents in the handy blue and white package. Tell your friends about wonderful Blue White. Now, The Strange Romance of Evelyn Winters. The story in which Evelyn is secretly in love with her guardian, Gary Bennett. And Gary finds himself in love with Evelyn, but believes he's too old for her. Do you think 15 years too great a difference for marriage? One of Evelyn Winters' favorite melodies, Begin the Beguine, is heard over the radio in the kitchen of her Beekman Place home. Only 2 minutes ago, the music was interrupted for a news bulletin. By merest chance, Evelyn heard the bulletin. Involuntarily, she cried out,
Gary.
In the living room, her guardian, playwriting Gary Bennett, stands by the window, looking out over the East River. Leaning against the grand piano is Pierce Field, and between them, an attempt at keeping up a conversation, playwright and actor, interest in common, but because of the love they share for one girl, conversation must be guided away from possible rapids, where niceties and conventions would be wiped out in the struggle to survive.
What a passing parade.
The river?
Yes.
Yes, isn't it, Gary?
And the River Drive.
But a larger window.
What, Pierce?
One of the new picture windows to do more justice to it. Gary, I heard that Mona Carlyle was back in town.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned a picture window. Didn't I hear some talk of plans to remodel the house?
Evelyn and I were talking about it. That was before my offer came from London. That seemed to take precedence over anything. Now, we've been in a state of suspended animation since that cable and transatlantic call.
You'll make up for it now.
Yes.
It'll be a staggering amount to do to get ready.
Gary, when I was in the kitchen...
You didn't find Maggie?
Gary will be over again, Maggie.
Whether Maggie goes to London with you or not, I'll see her.
Cheer up, sweet.
Evelyn.
You're the girl who has travel fever, remember?
Maggie is in the kitchen if you want to see her, Gary.
Thanks. I'll say goodbye to her and dash, or I'll arrive at my dinner too late for eating purposes, as Barney used to say.
Oh, well, who's Barney?
You don't know Barney? He was a cab driver. With Mrs. Barney, the three of us used to housekeep together when I was starting out as a writer in Chicago.
Oh?
After the family went to New Mexico. I made $12 a week.
And Barney had the cab.
And Mrs. Barney, the gift of gab. There was a woman. Those were the days.
Yeah, I bet.
Gary, Maggie's waiting for you.
You don't like our Chicago stories?
Well, yes, I do, but...
Evelyn doesn't want her guardian to be too late for eating purposes.
Okay. Excuse me?
Yes, Gary.
And then I'll leave, really.
Pierce.
I can guess.
What?
Maggie is in tears at saying goodbye to Gary.
Pierce.
And you voted against a formal goodbye in the living room. Oh, darling, don't bother to say no. Yet I adore you for the cover-up game you play.
Pierce, Philip McKay was thrown from a horse at the Meadows Hunt Club.
Phil?
I heard the news bulletin over Maggie's radio.
Oh, you aren't leaving it for Maggie to tell Gary?
No, Pierce, she didn't realize who Phil McKay was. I doubt if she's ever heard his name mentioned as your understudy.
The perfect gentleman would pick up his hat and go.
Gary.
You saw Maggie?
And said goodbye. He came in here on the heels of Evelyn's remark about understudies. I shouldn't comment on an overheard snatch of conversation, but, you know, Evelyn, every time you launch into talk of the theater, it sort of stops me. Did you ever talk theater before you met all of us? Evelyn?
No.
I know you didn't. And I feel like a proud teacher. You do it very well.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Well, if there's anything I can do, let me know.
Gary.
Yes, Pierce?
When Evelyn was in the kitchen, she heard a news bulletin.
Yes?
Do you want to repeat it as you heard it, Evelyn?
It's about Philip McKay.
What about him?
He was thrown from a horse at the Meadows Hunt Club.
Phil was...
They said he's been taken to a hospital.
What hospital?
Meadows?
There's a Meadows Hospital out on Long Island.
Did they say how he is?
They said no bulletin had been given out as to the extent of his injuries.
Oh, he's been thrown before, Gary.
But they believe his injuries are
Are what?
critical.
Critical.
That's what the announcer said.
Why not call the hospital, Gary?
I'll get the number, Gary.
I think I'll go over to the office. I'll call from there.
Well, you're welcome to use the phone.
Yes, I know, dear, but if I hear anything further...
We'll be right here.
Call us, will you, Gary?
Yes, I'll call you.
Gary, didn't you have a coat?
Oh, isn't this it?
Yes, that's my coat.
That's your favorite. The one you had made for you in...
In where? Paris?
No, in London.
London. Mm-hmm. Well,
Gary, I'm so terribly sorry.
You know, everyone says Phil has always been a devil on horseback. He may be all right, Gary.
let's hope so. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Evelyn,
Yes, Pierce.
you better come in, dear.
He got a cab.
Yes. Come on in, dear.
Yes.
I suppose we could call the hospital.
It's more considerate of hospitals not to phone in unless one is directly affected. Oh, Pierce,
I know, darling.
I hardly know Phil McKay except to say hello.
I know, Evelyn.
It seems such an awful thing for Gary to have this happen now. Everything's just crashing all around him. Pierce, it was Phil he was to meet for dinner tonight. What'll they do now? Pierce, what will they do?
Well, that'll depend on Phil's injuries.
And if they're serious, then what?
Then Phil loses out on the chance for whichever understudy waits to take over the lead role.
What will Gary do?
Find someone else.
Oh, he won't be satisfied with just anyone playing that part. I remember how he talked about it last season. When he heard you were returning to New York, no one else would do. Abigail isn't just a play to Gary.
Well, no play is just a play to its author. You think I should stay, don't you?
Stay?
You think I should have said as much to Gary while he was here.
No, I didn't think of it, Pierce.
You're thinking it now.
Pierce, you're going to London.
I haven't signed anything that says I must go to London.
But it's what you want. This is just a shock to me. Abigail's like a part of me. It isn't just another play to me. I knew all about it while Gary was writing it. I was the one who suggested that Sidonia have a younger sister. I'm like Abigail's godmother. Gary talked over his scenes with me. I know most of the lines by heart.
Darling, that's the way an actor feels over a part he likes and plays night after night. I haven't found it easy to think of leaving my part in Abigail. I didn't enjoy playing numb when Gary got this news of Phil that may... Well, I don't know what it may do to the reopening plans.
Postpone it.
Unless Gary closes it.
That's rather drastic. You don't mean that.
I don't know. Evelyn, I could have told Gary I'd remain in New York.
Gary wouldn't want that.
Oh, he'd want it all right. But then you'd be here.
Gary thinks it'll be better for all of us if we go.
That's what he says to me, too.
Gary has said and you've said that this is business, and personal angles mustn't enter into it. He doesn't want any sacrifices made for him.
And you realize that pride would have made him refuse any offer coming from me?
You might have made the offer anyway.
Evelyn, is that what you want me to do?
You mean that you want to stay here?
Well, I certainly wouldn't make such an offer unless I was prepared to back it up.
But you want to go to London. We both do, Pierce.
Evelyn, I don't know if taking you to London is right.
Pierce, you and I...
Oh, now, I won't be able to talk to you if you're going to cry.
When you say...
Evelyn, it's so easy to get carried away by the glamour of something new. Have you stopped to think what this means?
Of course, we've talked of it together.
Yes, we touched off all the bright parts. We'd rushed to get a license. We're married. We crossed by plane to England. London, names that have been words before, are now part of each day. Trafalgar Square, the Thames, the New Old Vic.
And all that won't be like living in a dream.
Oh, yes. You'll look out of a hotel window and wonder if you dare step out into it without getting lost.
You're forgetting you'll be there, Pierce.
No, I won't be there. I'll be at the theater rehearsing.
I know that, but rehearsals don't last forever.
They'll last for those first weeks.
But not for 20 hours a day. I'll get to see you once in a while.
Yes, when I come back to that hotel room between rehearsals.
Oh, I won't mind. You said you waited a very long time for me. It'll even the score, huh?
Evelyn, I won't be good company when I get back to our hotel room.
Oh, you're always good company, Pierce.
Oh, you don't know me when I'm working on a show. Learning lines, not wanting to talk to anyone, jumpy. Oh, actors can get so owlish. They're keyed up nervous. They're not good company, darling.
I have to be initiated sometime.
Well, it'd be better here. You have your life all mapped out for you here. You see, I'd worry about you. I would, Evelyn.
Oh, that would interfere with your work. Couldn't let that happen. What is it you want me to say?
You want me to go alone?
Is that what you want, Pierce?
To be with you. That's what I want. But, Evelyn, my work is my pride. Now more than ever, I've got to be fine because of you. Have I the right to ask you to understand and sacrifice for me?
Haven't I given you the right?
Without knowing the facts, you said you'd go. You'd leave everyone you care for. Ginny, who's going to pieces because she can't see anyone for you but Gary.
I'm not letting that influence me, Pierce.
No, dear. You're sweet and wonderful. And then Gary, to whom you've always turned for advice, who at the moment is taking a bad blow. Evelyn, I want to be sure that you consider everything I've said. I want you to be sure that going away with me is what you want. And now's the time to tell me.
The care with which Pierce has won Evelyn's confidence and love manifests itself again. Care, yet coupled with fingers of fear that wind around his heart each time he sees Evelyn and Gary together. Now he asks a question, and in Evelyn's answer there can be no compromise. Hear her answer tomorrow. If you've had to skimp on soap during the shortage, probably your clothes are tinged with that horrid gray look. So now, ladies, to have washes that are dazzling white, discover Blue White. BLUWHITE. These new Blue Flakes are a revolutionary new product. It combines a special kind of bluing with pure, mild soap flakes to give mounds of white cleansing suds with rich blue water underneath. This combination does what soap alone simply cannot do. It blues and washes at the same time. No wonder clothes fairly sparkle. No wonder 9 out of 10 who've discovered it prefer Blue White. In tub or machine, these Blue Flakes do a complete washing job alone, or you can use them with your regular soap. See how fast your wash is clean, with no extra bluing rinse, no streaks. Blue White never overblues. It's gentle to fabrics and to hands. So for dazzling white washes, get Blue White today. Only 10 cents. You'll say it's wonderful. Be sure to listen tomorrow to the next chapter of The Strange Romance of Evelyn Winters. Till then, this is Larry Elliott saying goodbye for Blue White, the new revolutionary product that blues while you wash.
Ladies, your most important fashion accessory this season is a stunning scarf. You wear one of these brilliant printed squares with your new fall suit, or draped around your shoulders with a plain black dress. This touch of bold, bright color near your face is very exciting if your complexion looks radiantly fresh, soft, and smooth. So today, change from inadequate care to Sweetheart Soap's famous 1, 2, 3 Extra Lather Beauty Care. For 1 minute, night and morning, massage your face with Sweetheart's glorious Extra Lather. Rinse with warm, then icy cold water. This routine gives amazing 3-way help. 1, it cleanses. 2, stimulates. 3, brightens your skin. And once you see the creamy, abundant lather Sweetheart gives, you'll say this is the beauty soap for you. Sweetheart gives up to twice as much lather as the average beauty soap. So start Sweetheart's famous 1, 2, 3 Extra Lather Beauty Care. Today, get Sweetheart, the soap that agrees with your skin.
The Strange Romance of Evelyn Winters will be on the air at the same time tomorrow. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.